representation of people?
That is a great question. So what I can tell you is that all the groups in this room and almost all the groups working on this campaign meet on a regular basis, and we have if not a united strategy, at least like a strong understanding of what everybody's doing. And it's kind of a little like an ecosystem the way we work together. Each group has different skill sets and different accesses. So, you know, some groups are really great at doing big media stunts, like Greenpeace, who's working on the campaign. Other groups, like Tank Free BC, are good at grassroots organizing, and that's the role they play. And still other groups are good at lobbying, like the Pembina Institute, as an example, might meet with politicians and work with them. So each of us plays a different role in the campaign, but we are all in communication and working together.
Kennedy? There's a few questions on property and ownership of things I thought I could share with you a bit in terms of how the process works from here on out. So later this week, Kinder Morgan will kind of start phase 1 of this project, which is to go to the National Energy Board and apply for what's called a commercial tolling application. So that is usually happens at the end of the process, but usually it's phase 3 in most projects, but it's phase 1 in this one. And that is determining how much Kinder Morgan will charge clients for oil or whatever comes down the pipeline. There is a public participation component of that. We've had a massive change to how the environmental assessment works in Canada. We're just trying to figure out how that all works. But in the past, there has been a venue for public participation. That's the first phase. The second phase is what Enbridge is going through right now. This is determining the general route of the pipeline. So it's not the area that will be taken up by the pipeline, but it's the area which I would call kind of a potential expropriation zone. It's once Kinder Morgan applies and successful in this area, then basically all the rules of the National Energy Board apply to this area. Now we learned 2 days ago that this area is about 150 meters wide, which is about a 40-lane highway. And talking to Kinder Morgan yesterday, it's very good of them to come out and kind of share information. I think I've dealt with them now for almost a year, and they've been very straightforward on what they're doing, what they're planning to do, and I think that's a credit to them. But they, so if you take those little yellow signs, you basically put 20 lanes on one side and 20 lanes on the other. If that's approved, then Kinder Morgan can pretty well do anything in there they want. What they will do is they will put in a right-of-way, that's what they'll apply for within this area. That'll be kind of 18 to 30 meters, which will have a trench of, well, there's pictures on their own website about how big these trenches are. They're quite large. They can be, 90 feet, 100 feet wide. And that's essentially what, and the Kinder Morgan representative last night was quite straightforward. They plan to stick on the current right-of-way as much as possible. So the little yellow signs that you see is the current right-of-way, and that's their plan for the moment. I have asked for maps of where they're thinking if they don't go on the right-of-way, where they would go instead. They said we'll get those in about 2 years. So this is why if you go on my website at my parliamentary office, kennedystewart.ca, I have a map, but what I am producing is also detailed neighborhood maps, so you can actually see where this goes through your particular neighborhoods. I've included all the pipelines that Kinder Morgan owns, not just the main pipeline, because they have a right-of-way to all these lines. That's what I thought was appropriate. So as property owners or concerned citizens, the rules are changing a bit, but you should be able to participate in all 3 phases of. So anyway, those are the 3 phases. That would be so all that information will be available on our website. Please come by the office anytime. What I am doing is also trying to put National Energy Board processes can be kind of overwhelming at times. So we will be hoping to help local citizens participate if they want to, and if you're concerned about your property and how it's affected, we can also help in that respect. So please feel free to contact any time, and I'll stay on this and try to inform you as best I can.
Can I hear one more time the address, the email address? I mean,
oh, I can give you a card if you like. I'll leave some cards
There's
here.
one more thing. I'm looking at the map here, and at some points the a jet fuel line converges. If the jet fuel line went along, and it's running right beside the tar, and it's going right by the elementary school, That could be a major problem too, wouldn't it?
Of course. Yeah.
And the line does go right in front of my daughter's condo.
There's a lot of debate going on right now in the Lower Mainland about what to do about the jet fuel issue. More and more they're barging or tankering jet fuel to the airport because there's less refining capacity here in the Lower Mainland, and a lot of it is coming up from Cherry Point in Washington. So it's something to be aware of. I know people in Richmond are very concerned about plans to build a pipeline across the Fraser there to service the airport.
I have a question for everyone who has anything to do with the pipelines or anything else. As far as I know, that Canada, this part, the west coast, is one of the most dangerous places to live because of the earthquake. Nobody can predict earthquake. It could happen tomorrow or never. But what's the guarantee, or how they going to build this pipeline, or how the tanker's gonna go to make sure when they dragging or digging or whatever on the line, they're not gonna do more damage, so we're gonna have an earthquake sooner, or if we're gonna have an earthquake, then we can close the door.
Yeah, when they came to our meeting, I asked about the current tankers they have up there. I said, well, do you have any liner underneath it? And of course they're so old they don't, right? So basically, if they have a spill, there's a catchment sort of area that they can catch that, but if it overflows, it just goes into the soil right now. I asked them about the design. Are they going to have something underneath for the new tankers? And they couldn't give me that answer, but I expressed I think that's very important for them to do that. Since it's now new technology, they should be able to do that.
Yeah, and tank farms are a place where they can have spills. And in January there was a spill at the Sumas tank farm on the Kinder Morgan pipeline in Abbotsford. So it is a point of concern with these projects. The other really risky place is actually where they transfer the oil to the boat. And they have what's called regular spillage. The oil industry worldwide, through regular spillage, spills around as much oil every year as was spilled by the Exxon buildings. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I guess to think about, if you consider this from like an environmental justice perspective, is the communities at the other end where those tankers are docking. So right now, there's not a lot of heavy oil refining capacity in China, so the tankers that are leaving right now are going mostly to California. They're going to Richmond, outside of Oakland, and Long Beach. I can tell you the people that live in those communities, every year they have a massive protest outside that refinery because they don't want heavy oil refined in their communities. It's causing them a lot of health problems. So from that perspective, we kind of have a moral obligation as well.
And also to China.
Yeah.
They're human too.
And you can't guarantee that 10 years from now they're not going to build a new refinery.
Unfortunately, there's fewer protests in China. So we're working very closely with the Tsleil-Waututh First Nation, and recently the Squamish Nation have also joined our campaign here in the Lower Mainland. On the 7th, I can tell you, July, they are going to sign something called the Save the Fraser Declaration. Over now 130 First Nations from Canada have signed the Save the Fraser Declaration, and basically what it says is they're exerting their First Nation title and rights, and they don't want any tar sands oil passing through their traditional territory. It forms a solid wall of opposition across the province to both of these pipelines, and they're going to do everything in their power to exert their legal rights to protect their communities from these projects.